Sports update. Raj, I'm in the building. We got Adrian in the building. We're back. Adrian, what's up?
What's going on, man? What's going on?
Man, I'm glad to be back. Glad to keep giving them these sports updates, man. And yeah, glad to talk to sports. Glad to be back, man. It's been a while.
Man, the fall time is here, man. And the baseball postseason coming up, man. The crunch runs coming. Football's back, man. College football's back this weekend. NFL about a week and a half. Our hometown Detroit Lions open up next week, man. College basketball will be here before you know it. The NBA, let's keep it rolling, man. We got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, a lot to talk about, a lot to get into. So we're gonna go ahead and start it off with baseball. Tigers currently They just started the series with the Yankees. They're having game 2 tonight, actually playing right now at this moment. But the Tigers are currently 59-72, third in the AL Central behind Minnesota and Cleveland. They're currently nine and a half games out of first place. So right now, do you see this team potentially sneaking into the playoffs, or are you sticking a fork in them?
Coming around, I said no, but I said let me do a couple of stats and look at a couple of things. Like you said, 59-72, 9.5 games back. And what it really comes down to is can they close the gap with the divisional opponents? Now you have 30 games left if you're counting tonight. They're down 2-0 right now to the Yankees as we're speaking. 11 games left. They got 6 against the White Sox, who are atrocious. Just fired their coach and their general manager. You got 3 against the Royals, who are terrible, and you got 2 against the Guardians, which means that leaves no Twins, and you're already 7.5 back of the Guardians. So I don't see this team. I don't see them having a chance to win this division, even though this division is terrible. I think there's just not enough time with 30 games left in the season. But I have liked what I've seen from this team in this last month and a half or so, especially from Spencer Torkelson.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Tork's bat's definitely been hot. He's been raking. But all in all, yeah, I have to agree with you. I don't think they're mathematically eliminated yet, but it's pretty much over, man. You're 9.5 games out. They've been dealing with the injury bug all season. Matt Manning, his last outing, he got hurt. Matt Boyd's out for the year. And, Miggy's playing, every 2-3 games. They've been dealing with the injury bug. The bats haven't been live enough. And I just don't see this as a playoff team right now. They just don't got it. Obviously, Mize hasn't pitched all season. I don't think the pitching staff is strong enough. Reese Olson did have a strong outing yesterday against the Yankees, but all in all, I don't think this is a playoff team. I do feel as though they're close. They're on the cusp. I don't know if they're on the cusp or if they're just look mediocre in a bad division. But all in all, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They do got a couple bright spots. I do like the center fielder Parker Meadows that they called up. He's been looking good. But all in all, no, I don't think the Tigers are going to make the playoffs. No, I don't see it happening.
I think the talent. I think some of these guys are finally starting to be able to like hit their stride a little bit. I know it's late in the season, but you got I'm looking at some of the roster. We talked about how bad they were at the beginning of the season, but some of these guys are starting to play well. You got Riley Green, who's 22. You got Kerry Carpenter, who I've been the most impressed with this season. 20 homers, hitting a 290 batting average. Then you got Torkelson, who's coming on late in the season. He's 24. We were talking about him at the beginning of the season, possibly getting sit down or being a bust, but the bats got hot lately in the last month and a half. You got Parker, they just called up, is only 23 years old. Then you got Matt Verling, who's been a surprise for me. He's only 26. So if these guys continue to develop, I think the Tigers could do something with this core who's relatively young. But I think the main thing they need to do in this offseason is add a bat, like a bat with some power, put them around some of those guys, and I think we get the rolling. But the matter of the question is Chris Ilitch willing to spend the money? Because we know how bad he's run this organization since his dad died.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to have to open the checkbook up to bring some bats here. For sure. Ain't no doubt about that. And obviously, with disband Miggy's last year, you're going to have more of the salary cap. I don't think they're still on the hook for his contract after this year, are they?
I believe it's about between 30 and 35 million they're getting off the hook for his last year on his contract. So that'll save him a lot of room right there. So get you a power bat, maybe add you another pitcher. You could be right back contending in his division next year without a doubt.
Yeah, for sure. They got some nice young talent, some nice young pieces. They gotta put it all together, man. They just gotta they got to mesh it all together, and they got some good pitching as well. Guys just got to get healthy. You want to see Mize come back. Scooble came back later in the season.
Lorenzen should be back.
Yeah, so yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see with the Tigers. I don't think this is the year they make the playoff push, but I will expect them to be trending upwards and compete for the division next year for sure.
I will say one last thing about them. I will say coming into the season, I was like they're gonna be a disaster, but they've played hard. They played a lot better. Give AJ Hinchman and the crew credit. So next year I'll be a little more optimistic, and hopefully they'll add some bats, like we said, some players, and make this team exciting, man. We haven't been good in years, man. It's this rebuild for like it's taken 7-8 years, man. We should be on track, man. Look at the Baltimore Orioles right now, man. They restarted the rebuild after the Tigers, and look at them. They are balling right now in the AL East. I believe they're second place behind the Tampa Bay Rays right now. So, it can be done. Just have to make the effort to do it.
Yeah. I think they kept Alavila a little too long. I don't think that helped either. But that's a whole nother story right there. So yeah, the Tigers currently in the 3-game series with the Yankees. We got my boy Garrett Cole pitching tomorrow. I'm definitely looking forward to that game. I might even go down there. I don't know. We'll see. But
I thought about going down there yesterday, but I didn't get the chance to. But I haven't got a chance to get to a game this year, so my work schedule and stuff. But I'm gonna try to make it happen for the end of the year. Why not? So
yeah, for sure. I would definitely love to see Garrett Cole pitch tomorrow. So we'll see if I can make it down. If not, I'm definitely gonna at least watch it on TV. So yeah, we'll see. Stay tuned on that one. All right, got a little feedback here. Shout out to Ack in the building. Ack said, hey, what's up? I hit the horn one time for Ack.
yeah.
Tapping in. And he Ack says, I'm currently eating off the Yankees. Yeah, Ack told me that he bet with the Yankees yesterday in that Tigers game. Yankees ended up winning it. So shout out to Ack for hitting on this parlay yesterday.
Yes, sir.
All right, moving right along here. Well, we got the college football season, week 1. Well, we had week 0 last week. But we are moving into week 1. This Friday, 7 p.m. East Lansing, Michigan State will be hosting Central Michigan. Michigan State, disappointing season last year, finished 5-7, 3-6 in the conference. So, Adrian, what's your expectations for the MSU football team this upcoming
Man, let's talk about going into a hot field pressure tank that Mel Tucker is under right now, going into his first year caught fire in a bottle with Kenneth Walker and company. Peyton Thorne them looked good, Jaden Reed, all those guys. They beat Pitt in that Peach Bowl, but last year was a disaster for these guys. And Mel Tucker has to get it done this year. I believe they have to win 7 or 8 games in order to take the heat off him. I know he's in a hard division with Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, but I expect nothing less. I don't know if you've seen them comments he talked about the day where he was talking about how hard it was to compete, and he was talking about NIL and stuff like that. But it's like, hey, Mel, you're getting paid like a top 10 coach. Michigan State extended you after the first year, so you will not leave the door. But you're going to have to find a way to get the NIL dollars into these guys' hands and make it work in order to get this roster. It's Michigan State. I'm not a Michigan State fan, but let's be real, Raj. They're a top 20 program. They should be able to get some guys and figure it out and not be as bad as they were last season. They've got a couple of guys on the team who can compete, but like I said, it was just a disaster. It looked like the end of the Mike D'Antonio era towards the end of the season. But if he doesn't win 7 or 8 games, people will be calling for his name. So I expect 7 to 8 wins without a doubt.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I think all the MSU people, they're expecting at least 7 to 8 wins. Last year, like you said, I'm just pretty much echo a lot of what you said. It was a complete disaster. 5-7 last year, 3-6 in the conference. Especially coming off the success you had the year before, and to turn around and just be a complete disaster like that. That was awful. But yeah, they're paying Mel Tucker a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. The Big Ten is definitely going to be tough this year. Nobody's expecting Michigan State to win it all, but you guys have to compete. You guys got to be competitive. They losing Peyton Thorne, I was surprised that he did hit the transfer portal. So it'll be interesting with the whole quarterback, how this quarterback situation plays out. But yeah, they can't underachieve again like that this year. Michigan State, they got to do better. They got to get it done.
And I know they haven't announced a quarterback yet, the starter for the Central game, but I believe it will be Noah Kim the redshirt junior out of Virginia. I think he has more experience. I think Hauser's talented, but I just think Noah Kim will have the edge. And I believe they probably will play both of them this year just because Caden Howard was a 4-star recruit and highly coveted it. So we'll see what happens. But they got Jalen Berger, the transfer from Wisconsin. So we'll see what happens with them, man. They got a lot of pressure on them this year. They got some receivers. They still got Trey Mosley. They got Antonio Gates Jr. Coming in as a freshman. So there's some promise.
Is he wide receiver or tight end?
Wide receiver played at Dearborn Fortson.
Okay. Okay, cool. Do you think that's a good thing that they're not announcing their starting quarterback yet?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's very strategic. It's the same thing as all these coaches do across the country. Like even Utah plays Florida Thursday night, and Utah hasn't told you if Cam Rising's playing or not. So I think it's a little trick, but I guess he's playing is close to the vest, man. So we'll see. But I expect them all to beat Central Michigan. Central Michigan, as we know, Raaj is not good. The MAC conference is not that good of a football conference. So this should be a little test run to see what they got on the field right now. They have to come out better this year. Actually, now that I'm looking at it right now, let's kind of look at their schedule a little bit real quick. I'll just make it real quick for us. So you got Central Michigan versus Richmond. That should be a win. And then the big game is Washington. As we all know, Washington will be in the Big Ten next year. I know it's real weird coming from the Pac-12 who's about to implode. Is
that game in Washington?
It's in East Lansing.
Oh, it's East Lansing. Okay.
Versus Maryland at Iowa. That's always a tough game. At Rutgers should be a win. Versus Michigan, but the one thing people have forgotten, we know what happened last year in that rivalry. It's going to be a night game, so it's going to be real rowdy. So you better be prepared. At Minnesota versus Nebraska, at Ohio State, at Indiana, home versus Penn State, or not home versus Penn State. They're actually moving that game. That's the day after Thanksgiving to Ford Field, which I'm not a fan of. We can get into that another day, but I expect 7 wins. I don't see 1, 2. I'm 1, 2, 3. Let's go 4, 5, 6, 7. I expect at least 7 wins. That schedule's manageable to get 7. I don't see them beating Michigan, Ohio State, or Penn State. And maybe they can get Iowa on the road. So we'll see what happens. But all in all, it's a lot of pressure on Michigan State to improve this football team this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think 7 wins is asked too much. That's fair, especially with the schedule you just named off. 7 wins is fair for sure. Mel Tucker, got to get that done. So my last thing on that, Friday, 7 o'clock against CMU. MSU is minus 14.5. Do you like them to cover that 14.5?
I do like them to cover that.
Yeah, I agree. I think MSU is going to cover that 14.5 well. So you guys that's going to plan on betting, put money up on it, take MSU in the points. I think they're going to rout CMU in this first.
Absolutely.
Game. For sure. All right. Moving on here. Let's keep it in state. Let's stay with college football here. Your man Jim Harbaugh suspended the first 3 games. Those first 3 games are against East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green. All games they're going to be highly favored in. We expect them to win. This wasn't an NCAA suspension. The school implemented this 3-game suspension. So, what's your take on this suspension?
I have 2 takes. I'm gonna make them quick because I'm gonna do this on another podcast as well. But one, I just find this whole situation rather just annoying because first it was reported that he got suspended. Then it was reported that he didn't get suspended. Then it reported that they agreed on a suspension, and then they took the suspension away. Then the school imposes a suspension, and then Harbaugh says he didn't lie about it. It's just been a whole mess. But my whole thing about it is just don't lie to the NCAA. Just tell them, and it just could have just been done with that. But Harbaugh, I think, wants to be petty with the NCAA. He doesn't like them. They don't like him, and I think now he's throwing shots at them. And now they're gonna try to make a statement. But Raaj, we all know the NCAA is a joke, man. We know they pick and choose to do what they want. Their method of madness makes absolutely no sense in what they do. But I just think Jim should have just told them what happened. We could have just swept it away, and then we could have dealt with the fine or whatever they were going to do. Now this is a whole big situation that's going to be carried on into 2024. And I think the whole imposing a 3-game suspension is not really going to do anything. I mean, who knows? I don't think it's really going to help Michigan. Otherwise, they even imposed a 1-game suspension on Sharon Moore, the offensive coordinator. So, I mean, take it as you be it, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's really going to affect this season. It's just really going to see what happens in the future of 2024. I think this is setting up for Harbaugh to eventually leave Michigan after this year because this is his best team on paper, the best team he's had since he's been at the school, and this is the best shot they've probably had at a Natty since '97, man. So I think in the big picture, that's what we're looking at, the writing on the wall, in my opinion. But I just gonna have to just take this year and just see where it goes, man. But I won't be surprised if in 3 or 4 months we're talking about Harbaugh trying to take an NFL job again. But we'll see. But everything's going well for him. Recruiting's going well. I guess we'll just have to get to it when the season comes. But I'm just kind of over it, man. Honestly, but I'm just gonna take this season and ride with it.
Yeah. So that the fact that the school implemented this 3 game suspension, do you think the NCAA is going to double back and instill their own suspension, or you think this 3 games is going to be enough?
No, I think the NCAA is still going to find a way to give him extra. Well, they initially gave him 4, and I just don't get if you were going to impose a suspension, why not do what the NCAA did and said we already agreed on this suspension, so we doing what we feel like we was fair and what we agreed on. So maybe that would have gave you a little leeway, but not the fact that you kind of just slapped them in the face and said whatever, forget what you talking about. Well, we're going to do our own thing. So I think they're going to try to prove a point. So I think they're going to give him anywhere from a 2 to 3 game extra suspension because if we're looking ahead to 2024, Michigan, if a lot of people don't know, Texas comes to town next season. So we're talking about a huge national primetime game next year, looking at Texas coming here and playing Michigan. Those are 2 big brands in college football. So I think the NCAA is going to make a point about it. So I don't even see him, even if he's here next season, I don't see him coaching the first 3-4 games coming into the 24 season if he's still here.
Yeah. So you really think he's going to go to the NFL?
I'm getting there more and more every day because he doesn't want to talk about it. He's definitively denied about the allegations. I think he did do it, but guess what? All this stuff really happened, Raj, in COVID, man. It happened in COVID. You could have just told us NCAA, hey, I did it, man. I didn't know, we messed up, whatever. And NCAA would have been like, all right. But since Jim Harbaugh is like one of these quirky guys, he likes to do things differently. He likes to give people a challenge. NCAA is so tired of people talking about them and putting them down and calling them this and that. They're just like, all right, we're going to make an example out of you. Whether they're successful or not, they're going to attempt to do it. And I know it's coming, man. But I don't want him to leave, but if he leaves, I'm kind of bracing myself for him to be gone. So there's a lot of things that could happen. Like he's even having different coaches coached these first couple of games, even though Michigan's schedule is a joke for the first three games. But I think if he does leave, I won't be surprised. And there's still the elephant in the room. We haven't heard anything about a contract extension, nothing. They just gave him a little bit more money, but we haven't talked about that yet. But I think right now, everybody just focused on this season and seeing where this team can go because this team is hella talented, man. They got all the tools to be possibly holding the trophy up come January.
Absolutely. Got Dak in the building. He said, "Will Michigan get another championship at last?"
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so, man. That I was in diapers when they won in '97, man. So I'm hoping we can finally see one, man. This is, like I said, this is his best team on paper, man. There's no excuses. You got Ohio State at home. I know the toughest game will be at Penn State, but luckily that's a noon game. Penn State will be much better. Watch out for Maryland because that's going to come sandwiched in between those games. So I think the only way Michigan can lose is if they beat themselves. You know, I think they're hungry after losing to TCU the way they did, man. That was a heartbreaker, losing the way they did, giving that game away. There's no way they should have lost that game.
Yeah, I mean they should run the table again this year. Obviously, they're favorites to win the Big Ten. Where they ranked second right now, I believe.
Second in the AP poll behind Georgia, and Ohio State's 3. So the Big Ten is loaded. I could see Michigan and Ohio State getting in the college football playoff again this year, or Penn State. So be ready, man. Be ready.
I think Michigan and Penn State are the 2 best teams in the Big Ten. I think Penn State's going to be very good this year.
All right, what is your opinion of Ohio State? Is it the quarterback position? What is it? Do you not trust Ryan Day?
Yeah, the quarterback position, and just they lost a lot of players, and I just don't think this is going to be the year that they. Don't get me wrong, they're going to be in the mix. They're going to be formidable. They're going to be a great team, but I just personally think Penn State and Michigan are going to be the 2 teams to beat. I wouldn't be surprised going into that game if both those teams are undefeated, or Penn State might have like 1 loss because I think at that point they're already going to have played Ohio State by the time we play
Yeah,
Michigan.
they play them first. They play them first, and then Michigan gets them later in November. So we'll know a lot when it gets to that home stretch. Because as we know, I mean, we can make fun of them all we want, but we know the Big Ten East is irrelevant this year right now. I will be better though. I can guarantee you that. Illinois I think is my surprise team in the Big Ten. Purdue's got a new coach. Wisconsin's got Luke Fickle. I think it'll take them a year or two to get adjusted. But this is the last year of divisions in the Big Ten. So
Right.
we're in for one, and then we get Oregon and Washington, USC and UCLA next year. So this conference is only getting tougher, man.
For sure, for sure. That adding those dynamics too, having to go out west to play, and it's gonna be a whole different dynamic. The Big Ten's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy for sure. So yeah, and Michigan they only got what 1, 2, 3, only 5 of the games are on the road. Yeah, I think their toughest games are going to be Penn State, Michigan State. That's a rivalry game. I'm not going to just lock them in to win that game. They should win it, of course.
I'm worried about that game just because it's a night game. After what happened last year with the brawl in the tunnel, man, security is going to be ramped up for that game. They're going to be fired if they don't focus. They could easily lose that game because, as we all know, Michigan struggles historically at a Spartan Stadium, and then it's at nighttime. Oh man, I only imagine.
Yeah, State's going to be hungry. They're going to want to avenge that loss from last year, and they're going to be better this year. So Michigan, man, you know they got to get it done. Like you said, they got all the tools, they got the whole recipe, the team, the coach, everything to get it done this year. They got to. Obviously, they've won the Big Ten and got to the playoff. They got over the Ohio State hump, but they got to stop going to the playoffs and laying down. They laid it down against Georgia, got blew out. The heartbreaking loss against TCU last year, where the defense just decided not to show up. So we know they can get to the playoff, but it's getting to the playoff and competing. So they got to get over that hump. They got to get over that hump now. So so we'll see. Yeah, Michigan this Saturday, East Carolina at home. I think they're 35.5 points.
Yeah, will they cover? I say they cover. East Carolina's going to be a bottom feeder team. They lost their quarterback, but it depends on if Michigan decides to take their foot off the gas. But I could see them winning 62-13, somewhere around there. Announcement to make, though. I will be at the Bowling Green game September 16th. That's a night game. So that should be fun. So
yeah, should be a route as well. So it should be a win. Should be excited. Should be a electric crowd. So yeah, that's what's up. That's a good look right there. All right, well, sticking with football, but moving to the pros, the Detroit Lions just wrapped up their preseason, went 2-1. So what's your expectations for the Lions this upcoming season?
I mean, it's more like everybody's been talking about. They're probably one of the more talked about teams in this offseason besides the New York Jets. I expect them to win this division, but do not sleep on the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love has looked good for this team. Looked solid, man. They got a really good roster. I see them and the Packers going at it. I see them winning this division, though, in a tight one. I see the Lions going 11-6, winning the NFC North, and finally hosting a playoff game for the first time in our lifetime, for sure. The city will be rocking if that happens, but I see them doing that. I see them at least getting to the divisional round this year coming up. The key is going to be, as we know, the big elephant in the room. Jamison Williams was coming back from injury last year. He gets a 6-game suspension for gambling. He wasn't as crazy as some of these other guys doing. I just don't do it at the facility. Just follow the rules, man. I know it's tough, man, but you're hurting your development, man. I think the thing I'm worried about the most is the Lions' depth at wide receiver behind him. Amon St. Brown, he's going to get his catches, but who else we looking at? Josh Reynolds. You're looking at Sam Laporta, a rookie. I think that's going to be their biggest question mark. Josh Reynolds. If anybody gets hurt, it's gonna be a problem, Raaj. It's going to be a big problem.
Yeah, for sure. I can see why the expectations are high. The division is more wide open than it's ever been. Aaron Rodgers is out of Green Bay. No more Dalvin Cook in Minnesota. The Bears will be better, and I do think Jordan Love is going to have a decent season. I think him sitting behind Rodgers all those years really helped him. I think if Jordan Love would have came in and started his rookie year and got thrown into the fire, I think it would have been a bust.
Yeah,
I think the fact that he sat behind Rodgers all those years, he's going to hit the ground running now. And I think Green Bay's going to be in the mix. Watch, Green Bay or Chicago, those are two teams to watch out for. One of those teams is going to be a sleeper team in the NFC. So I'm not just going to say those teams are going to be bad or be horrible or anything like that. But the division is wide open. It is there for the Lions taking. Will they take it? We'll see. Like you said, you got the Williamson factor. I don't know how electrifying the passing game is going to be. I think Amon Ra's a little dinged up right now. I don't see him missing that season opener, but I know he is a little dinged up right now. I think they are going to rely on the running game. You know, we got all the big boys up front, all the first-round picks. We got the two-headed monster at running back, so I do think they are going to try to establish the run. But, I mean, it's all there for the taking for the Lions, man. We'll see if they can get over the hump and take it. I do like this coaching staff as well, so we'll see.
I agree. I couldn't say more. Dan Campbell has grown on me. You know, as when I first got hired, talking about biting kneecaps off and stuff. I like the intensity and the energy and what he's done to this franchise and changed them. Like culturally, you can see that this franchise is starting to turn the corner a little bit. So it's a good thing, man, for the city, man. We need some winners around here, man. We all know our pro teams have struggled mightily over these last 5, 6, 7 years, man. So bring something good. The season ticket sold out for the first time in Ford Field history. So I know the fans, man, are excited. They're gonna bring the energy. And don't sleep on the Lions potentially beating Kansas City next week, opening night. No Chris Jones reportedly still hasn't reported to camp. They're talking about he may not report until week 8. And as we all know, he's one of the best defensive tackles behind Aaron Donald in the NFL, man. I don't think they're going to go in their place scared. I think the defense is going to be a lot better, man. I think that safety position they have is one of the best in the league. You're talking about CJ Gardner-Johnson. You got Kirby Joseph, the rookie last year, played phenomenal. You got Tracy Walker coming back from injury. Man, this team's talented, man. Manuel Mosley just got elevated out the pup list. They signed my boy Cam Sutton from my Pittsburgh Steelers. So I just think this team's gonna be better. Hutch is gonna have another big year, man. I like the potential what I see from this team. They can put it together, and the coaching staff can do everything they're supposed to do. This team can make some noise, man. Finally, and put the confidence in it that we need to see, and bring a winner to this city. Something we need.
Yeah, for sure. Even Branch, the rookie out of Alabama, they say he's been playing very well. They really upgraded the secondary. I'm definitely looking for the defense to take a step forward. You know, you added Jack Campbell in the draft. The defense should be much better. They should be much improved. And if they do want to win that game next week against Kansas City, they definitely got to get some pressure on him. They can't let him sit back there and have his way and try to pick the defense apart. They definitely got to get to him. But we're gonna make our picks on that next week, and I got some over unders for the Lions next week. We're gonna get more into that. We're gonna get more into the Lions talk for sure. Believe that. Let me see. We got Zahir in the building. Zahir said he's tapping in. Shout out Zahir in the building.
Appreciate you, my guy.
Hit the horn for you one time. And then we also got Ack in the building. Ack says, boom. This NFL season does feel different. Yes, it's exciting, man. It's exciting. As far as this NFL season, though, I definitely think the AFC is the much tougher conference than the NFC. The NFC, you know, you got Dallas, San Fran, Philly. Other than that, I feel as though the NFC is wide open. I mean, the Lions should be in the mix. Seattle should be in the mix.
San Francisco.
Yeah, but I feel as though the AFC is much tougher. Ravens, Chargers. I think the Broncos are going to be much better. The Jets, the Bills, the Bengals. The AFC is loaded.
Jaguars.
Yeah, AFC is loaded. So that's even more favorable for the Lions. So yeah, for sure. All right. So the NFL just came out with its top 100 list, and its top 10 players were number 10, Chris Jones of the Chiefs, number 9, Michael Parsons, number 8, Josh Allen, number 7, Tyreek Hill, number 6, Joe Burrow, number 5, Travis Kelce, number 4, Nick Bosa, number 3, Jalen Hurts, number 2, Justin Jefferson, and number 1, obviously, Patrick Mahomes. So how do you feel about this top 10 list? Did they get it right?
I like the list. My only issue, I like Jalen Hurts. I'm a big Jalen Hurts fan. I just think 3 is a little too high. He's had one really good year. Now can he do it again? That's the question. All those other guys on the list have had consistent productive years for more than 1 year. That's my only issue. And as you can see how good the Kansas City Chiefs are, they have 3 players in the top 10. So that goes to show you that those guys know how to draft and develop. Especially none of those guys, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, or Chris Jones were thought of to be future superstars in the league. We thought Patrick Mahomes could be good, but we didn't know he could be this good. So that just goes to show me. So I have no complaints with the list other than the Jalen Hurts being that high. So
Yeah, Jalen Hurts is high, and also my guy Jamar Chase, man. You can make an argument that Jamar Chase is the best receiver in the league. I mean,
oh,
obviously Justin
absolutely.
Hurts won the receiving title and everything last year, but I wouldn't have been mad if they didn't threw my guy Jamar Chase in that top 10 as well.
Yeah, I think Josh Allen's going to take a step back this year. I think the whole Buffalo Bills team is going to take a step back this year. My biggest hot take of the NFL this year is that the Buffalo Bills will not make the playoffs.
Ooh, yeah, that's a hot take right there.
And if I'm wrong, I'll stand on it. But something's just not sitting right with me with the Buffalo Bills. This Stephon Diggs situation right now. The defense looks shaky. I know it's preseason, but I just something off about the team. They don't seem like on point. They don't like to run the football in the playoffs when it gets rough or late in the season. That's been a problem for them. So I just think out of the teams that they consider powerhouses, I think they're more of the one of the weaker teams in this year because they haven't really done anything yet, in my eyes.
I do think the AFC East is the toughest division of football. The Jets, Dolphins, Patriots, and Bills. I think that's going to be the toughest division this year, along with the AFC West with the Chargers, Chiefs, Broncos, and Raiders. I think those are going to be two toughest divisions. Obviously, the winner of the AFC East might represent the AFC in the Super Bowl potentially. I think that division is going to be very tough, very tough. So we'll see. I mean, me personally, I don't think the Bills are going to take a step that far of a step back. We'll see. I definitely think they're going to be in the mix. I do like that tight end they drafted.
Kincaid, yep, Dalton Kincaid, yep.
Yeah, I do like him. They got a couple running backs over there, so we'll see. But all in all, the AFC is just going to be super tough in general.
Loaded. I did a little parlay, a little division winner parlay, just for the heck of it. Said why not put $2 on it? I actually picked the Dolphins to win the AFC East. Just wanted to.
Okay.
I like the weapons. I think Tua will be a year better, keep him healthy. My only question is the offensive line. I know Jalen Ramsey got hurt, but he'll be back. The defense was really good. That's my surprise pick to win the AFC East. I know that everybody's talking about the New York Jets, but just pay attention to that offensive line. Aaron Rodgers likes to be protected. The offensive line struggled this far in the preseason and in some of these joint practices. So we know they're the hottest team in the league right now. Everybody's talked about, but just keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. So speaking of those New York Jets, are you buying into the hype? Do you think they'll make the playoffs this year?
I actually do think they'll make the playoffs. I definitely think they'll be a lot better than they were last year. I'm a big fan of Garrett Wilson. Shout out to Garrett Wilson. He won me my fantasy league last season. I think they got some talent off defensive lines loaded. Quentin Williams, Jermaine Johnson, Bryce Huff. They got studs everywhere, man. So I think they'll be a lot better. I think they will make the playoffs, a wild card. But other than that, I'm not sold entirely. But I know for a fact they'll be much better.
Okay. I like that take. I think the Jets will make the playoffs too. In the grand scheme of things, I don't think they're going to make it to the Super Bowl, but they'll definitely be a lot better because obviously Aaron Rodgers is going to be much better than Zach Wilson. So obviously, yeah, they'll definitely make the playoffs. Will they represent the AFC in the Super Bowl? I don't think so.
Find out, yeah.
All right, let's get some of this feedback here. Says Washington is looking real good. I don't think Dallas is going to be like that this year. So, Adrian, are you buying into this Washington Commanders nonsense, or how do you feel about Washington?
I actually think they're a very underrated team with a really good roster. Sam Howell can be good, like he can play well. I think Washington can compete, maybe possibly for a wild card spot, especially in the NFC. Raaj, we just talked about how wide open it is. Dallas is gonna be Dallas, man. Dallas is like one of those teams we always talk about every year. Everybody hypes them up. I think they actually have a really good roster, but they never, when it comes time to it, performs and when it matters the most. They have some star players and Trevon Diggs, you got Micah Parsons, you got CeeDee Lamb, DeMarcus Lawrence. They got some guys everywhere, but it's going to come down to, is that going to throw picks? Is that going to perform when it matters the most? How healthy will Tony Pollard be coming back from this broken tibia injury? I know they got Deuce Vaughn, the guy they've been really raving about out of Kansas State, the rookie. They just traded for Trey Lance, but I don't think that's really anything for Dak to be worried about. But when it comes down to it, I still think Washington finishes third right now. If you're making me pick right now, as much as I don't like Dallas, I can't say they're not a good roster. They're not talented. I think they have the tools. It's just, can they get it done? I know Jerry's he's fiending for a championship, man. They haven't done since '95, man. I don't see him winning one this year, but they're not better than San Francisco or Philadelphia. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean they got the roster to win the Super Bowl this year. I think ultimately it all falls on Dak's shoulders. That's what it is. They got all the other pieces to the puzzle. Dak got to get it done. He keeps coming short in the playoffs. He just keeps showing that he's not in the elite level. He's a guy good enough to win a division, to win a playoff game, but is he elite enough to win a Super Bowl?
B plus,
All
B plus. He's a B plus quarterback. He's not a minus A plus quarterback. So he's right
right.
there, top 12, top in between top 12 and top 15. I would put him at. No, I don't think Dak's a top 10 quarterback.
No, no. So how far do you think the Cowboys can go this year? Can they win a playoff game? Can they win a division?
They'll win a. They can win. They can win a playoff game. That's about where I'll put them. Unless Micah Parsons absolutely becomes an animal and just has 5 sacks in a playoff game or whatever. But if they were to do it, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'm going based off history, man, and what they showed me. Until they show me that they can actually do it, then I'll believe it. It's just one of those things because it's been so long since they've actually done anything. People once they win, people are going to be like, "I told you so," or this or that. But hey, we've said that for the last 30 years. It's about time you find one year where you can pull it together. So
Right. Who would you rather have right now, Dak Prescott or Jared Goff?
ooh, that's a good one. I'll say Jared Goff. I'll go Jared Goff just because I think if you gave Jared Goff Dak Prescott's weapons, man, what? Jared Goff would light the world on fire. Imagine you put CD Lamb with Amon St. Brown and Jamison Williams. It wouldn't be fair. Jared Goff would probably throw 35 touchdowns. Because the offensive line have the offensive line, they'll have the protection, they have Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. I think he would do a phenomenal job with the weapons. Because I think when it comes down to Jared Goff and Dak, you need to surround them with pieces that are gonna elevate their game. And if you can do that, then they can get the job done. And Jared Goff showing you that he can take a team to the Super Bowl. He did it with the Rams. So it went bad when the offensive line was bad, and the Lions have protected him and whatnot. But does Jared Goff get a contract extension from the Lions after the season? I can't answer that question right now. That's kind of tough, man. It's kind of tough.
Well, I mean, I think that's all going to be determined by his play this year. If
Mm-hmm.
they do win the division, win 11, 12 games, host the playoff games. I think they'll resign him. But they also did draft Hendon Hooker. So at what point are you going to bring him along, or is he just going to be a career backup? Who knows? But
We'll find. We're gonna find out. We're gonna find out what they're made of.
absolutely, absolutely. Let me see. We got a little more feedback here.
God.
Access Jets going to the playoffs for sure. Lock them in.
Okay. I like
I
the
mean, yeah,
confidence.
yeah. I mean, no reason not to. They got the roster. They got the quarterback. The only thing that would hinder them, like I said, that division. I feel as though the AFC East is the toughest division in football this year. So we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna close it out with fantasy. We're gonna give some fantasy tips. Did you do your fantasy draft yet?
I actually have a draft. My first draft. I'm in 2 leagues. I usually do about 2 leagues. I about cap it at that. It's too much. It's too much going on after that. If you do anywhere from 2 to 3 leagues, I'm leaving it at that. But I actually have a draft tomorrow night. So not sure what pick I have yet. I usually do the one where we randomize it about an hour until you get into the draft room, and then you see where you go from there. But I'm the commissioner of this league, so my advice to the fantasy players out there: go get your receiver. Do not, and I repeat, do not force yourself to draft a running back if you know it doesn't feel right. Got to get the receivers. They're going to be hot. Their production's going to be just as good. So do not reach for a running back. That's my biggest advice. Anything else, you'll be good with. Just
So
stick to what you know.
don't take a running back in the first round.
Don't reach. There's only a couple guys. If you can get a Christian McCaffrey, if you can get a Christian McCaffrey or possibly a Saquon Barkley, I would do even a Bijan. I'm very high on Bijan Robinson, the rookie out of Texas. That's been the guy I've been clamoring for. So one of those 3 guys, I would say for sure. Maybe Austin Eckler, I would say, and that's really about it. Tony Pollard's coming off injury. Dalvin Cook's going to split carries. Travis Etienne is going to be good, but you can go down to the 3rd, 4th round and get some of those guys like that. But the receiver market is going to be hot, and if you miss out, then you're gonna be out of luck. And and if you can't get a Kelsey or a Mark Andrews or a TJ Hawkinson, just wait to get a tight end because the rest of them guys are just gonna be such and such, especially with the receptions and targets they get thrown at. So those are the couple things I got to say about it. Other than that, you should do a good job.
I mean, Sam Laporta will be out there. Who? No, I'm just playing. No, okay. Shout out X. I took Justin
Oh,
Jefferson
yeah.
fourth overall.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm actually in the fantasy league with X. So
Who'd
X,
you
X,
get? Who'd you get first pick?
my first pick, I took Jamar Chase.
What number did you have?
I had the first overall pick in the first
Okay.
round.
Okay, that's I can see that.
The method like you just said, receivers. X says Yankees up 4-0, bottom of the ninth. Yeah, Yankees going to be going up 2-0 in that series, and then you got Garrett Cole on the mound tomorrow. So it's
That's
gonna
bad.
be tough. Yeah, I don't know if the Tigers are even going to win the game in this series.
Yeah.
And also, I wanted to add in fantasy as far as receivers, I did draft Zay Flowers, the rookie out of Boston College, 22nd overall pick to the Baltimore Ravens. Ran a 4.3. He's like a Tyreek Hill kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Letting everybody know now if you haven't done your fantasy draft yet. Zay Flowers, I took him. I expect him to do big things for me this year. Zay Flowers. Even the guy here in Michigan, Marvin Jones. Jameson Williams suspended first 6 games. Raaj a little nicked up. Jared Goff is going to lead on his veteran, so don't sleep on a guy like Marvin Jones either. And lastly, Devontae Adams. I know he's one of the best receivers in the league, but
Still the best
the
receiver.
Raiders are going to be horrible this year. Jimmy Garoppolo is mediocre, and so I think Devontae Adams is going to have more of a down year, just due to the production because the team's going to be horrible in the quarterback play. So yeah, those are my couple tips in fantasy. So yeah.
I like it. I like it when everybody try to go win. I'm coming off being a champ, so I'm excited right now. So
Okay, so you say you're doing your draft tomorrow?
yes, sir.
Okay, well yeah, good luck in your draft tomorrow. Good luck.
Appreciate you, my guy. I'll let you know what I come out with. So
All right, cool. All right, well yeah, there it is. Sports update. Adrian, anything else you want to add before we get up out of here?
man, the dudes support us, man. Show us some love, subscribe, man. Follow me on Twitter. That's at Keeping the Score. We gonna keep giving y'all what y'all want, man. We're back at it again, man. It's like I said, it's a great time of the year, man. I'm excited once again.
Yeah. So next week we're gonna give our Super Bowl predictions. I'm gonna have some Lions over unders. We're gonna give our take for the Lions game next week. And just stay tuned. Next Tuesday we'll be right back at it.
Stay tuned, everybody.
All right, everybody. Peace out.
Peace.